You know what makes me absolutely sick? The fact that we sat there on the 13th of November 2023, watching what should have been one of the most electrifying tag team matches in Raw history, and instead, WWE handed us a masterclass in everything wrong with modern booking. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus the Judgment Day for the tag team titles, a match so loaded with potential it could have broken the internet, and what did we get? A finish so predictable, so painfully corporate, that it felt like a slap in the face to every single person who believed tag team wrestling still mattered in 2023. But here's what really grinds my gears: people are calling this match a classic. A classic? Are we watching the same product? Because from where I'm sitting, this match exposed the ugly truth about WWE's tag team division, and I'm about to break down exactly why this epic encounter was nothing more than smoke and mirrors. Let me paint you the picture. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, the prodigal son who returned to WWE with unfinished business, teaming with Jey Uso, the man who finally broke free from the Bloodline's suffocating grip. On paper, this is money. This is the kind of odd couple dynamic that writes itself. You've got Cody, the calculating tactician with everything to prove, paired with Jey, the emotional powder keg still finding his identity outside his family's shadow. The chemistry was there, the crowd was nuclear, the story was practically gift-wrapped. And across the ring, Finn Bálor and Damian Priest, the Judgment Day's handpicked champions, two men who'd been holding those titles hostage in some of the most forgettable reigns in recent memory. But here's where it gets interesting, and by interesting, I mean infuriating. Quick question for you: do you think the Judgment Day's title reign made those championships more or less prestigious? Drop your answer in the comments, because I've got some opinions on this. From the opening bell, you could feel something was off. Don't get me wrong, the action was crisp. Cody worked like the thoroughbred he is, Jey brought that bloodline-trained intensity, and Finn and Priest played their roles as the calculating heels to perfection. But there was this overwhelming sense that we were watching a match with the outcome already sealed in concrete, buried 6 feet deep, with a headstone reading "Sorry, not today." The crowd in that arena was rabid. Every time Jey hit the Uso splash setup, the building shook. Every time Cody teased the crossroads, you could hear the collective hope of thousands believing this might be the moment. And that's the sickest part of all: WWE knew exactly what they were doing. They dangled that carrot, let us taste victory, made us believe in the impossible, and then yanked it away with the same tired, recycled interference finish we've seen 1,000 times before. Because of course, Dominic Mysterio had to get involved. Of course, Rhea Ripley had to distract the referee at the crucial moment. Of course, JD McDonough, remember him? Barely on our screens but conveniently placed at ringside, had to provide that extra insurance. It's the Judgment Day formula, and it's about as creative as a kid reheating leftover pizza for the 10th day in a row. But you want to know what really exposes WWE's contempt for tag team wrestling? It's not just the interference. It's not just the predictable finish. It's the fact that this match, with all its star power, all its potential to elevate those championships, was really just another stepping stone in someone else's story. Those tag titles, they were props. Beautiful, golden props in the ongoing saga of the Judgment Day's slow-motion implosion. Here's another one for the comments: what was the last tag team title match you can remember that actually felt like the championships were the main story? I'll wait. Let's talk about Cody for a second, because this is where the whole thing becomes a tragedy. The man came back to WWE to finish his story, to capture the World Championship his father never could. Noble goal, right? Inspiring stuff. But somewhere along the way, creative decided that the path to the main event runs through every other championship and feud possible. The tag team titles with Jey Uso felt less like a natural partnership and more like, hey, we need to keep Cody hot while we figure out the WrestleMania card, so let's throw him into the tag division for a few months. And Jey? Poor Jey Uso, who delivered some of the most emotionally charged performances of 2023 in his split from Roman Reigns, was reduced to being Cody's high-flying accessory. The man who had crowds chanting "youth" with the intensity of a religious experience deserved better than to be a placeholder in someone else's redemption arc. But here's where I'll give credit where it's due, and trust me, it pains me to admit this: the in-ring storytelling was masterful manipulation. There's a moment, maybe 12 minutes in, where Jey and Cody pull off a sequence so smooth, so perfectly synchronized, that you forget they've only been a team for a hot minute. Jey springs off Cody's back for a splash. Cody catches Priest with a disaster kick while Jey's midair. The timing is chef's kiss. The crowd erupts. And for exactly 30 seconds, you believe they are winning those titles. That's the genius and the tragedy of modern WWE. They are so good at making you feel something in the moment that you almost forget they are going to rip your heart out 60 seconds later. Finn Bálor, to his credit, worked this match like his contract depended on it. The coup de grace looked devastating. His heel work, that smug arrogance that makes you want to reach through the screen, it was all there. Damian Priest brought the power. The South of Heaven chokeslam nearly took Jey's head off. These guys are talented. The Judgment Day, as a faction, has all the tools. So why does every single one of their title defenses feel like a carbon copy of the last one? Real talk in the comments. Is the Judgment Day the most overprotected faction in modern WWE history, or am I tripping? And that finish. Oh, that finish. After 20+ minutes of back and forth action, after the crowd invested their entire emotional portfolio in this match, we get the same paint-by-numbers ending. Dominic causes a distraction. Referees not looking. Extra Judgment Day member interferes. Roll-up or unexpected finisher. 1, 2, 3. Champions retain. Fade to black. It's creative bankruptcy dressed up in expensive production values. You know what the most insulting part is? The post-match angle was actually intriguing. The seeds of dissension within the Judgment Day, the tension between Finn and Damian, the cracks in the foundation, that was compelling television. Which means WWE knew they had interesting stories to tell. They just chose to tell them at the expense of making those tag team championships mean something. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to admit, those titles have become participation trophies. They are not the destination anymore, they are just another landmark on the road to somewhere else. When was the last time someone chased those tag team championships because they genuinely wanted to be tag team champions? Not because it served their single storyline, not because creative had nothing else for them, but because being tag team champions was the ultimate goal? I can't remember either. The match itself was technically sound. Nobody botched. The psychology was there, but it was technically sound in the way a microwave dinner is technically food. Sure, it'll fill you up, but you're not calling your friends to rave about it. You're not going to remember what it tasted like next week. And that's the real tragedy of Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus the Judgment Day. It should have been a defining moment for the tag division. Instead, it was just another very good match that changed absolutely nothing, meant nothing in the long run, and will be forgotten by everyone except the hardcores who keep a spreadsheet of every title change. Last question before we wrap this up: if you were booking this match, how would you have ended it differently? Give me your fantasy booking in the comments. WWE proved something on the 13th of November 2023, and it wasn't what they intended. They proved that you can have all the talent in the world, all the star power, all the crowd investment, and still produce something that feels hollow. They proved that modern wrestling has become so obsessed with protecting everyone, building to the next thing, and maintaining the status quo that they've forgotten how to create actual moments that matter. Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso deserve better. The tag team championships deserve better. And most importantly,